we've had these problems that we faced last year, and we've gone round and round and round trying to understand what those are and how we can fix those.
Have you heard about the terrible news going for Mercedes W14 future? Let's dive straight into it. Lewis Hamilton's weekend at the Miami Grand Prix started off rough and ended in disappointment. However, the last 15 laps proved to be a glimmer of hope as Hamilton fought hard and achieved what he had been longing for. Looking ahead, Hamilton is optimistic that things will take a turn for the better when they return to the track in Imola. The reason behind his optimism is the introduction of Mercedes' fully upgraded B-Spec car, which promises to be a more conventional setup and aero configuration. The question remains, will this upgrade be sufficient to keep Mercedes competitive in the upcoming years, or will they be left behind? Let's delve into the details and explore what we can anticipate from Mercedes after their Miami GP experience and the buzz surrounding their significant upgrade. During the majority of the race, Lewis Hamilton found himself outside the points, requiring pit stops from other cars to elevate him into the top 10. However, a strategic decision to have a lengthy initial stint, followed by a series of impressive overtakes, propelled Hamilton to a remarkable sixth-place finish that initially seemed highly unlikely. Upon emerging from his pit stop, Hamilton's frustration was evident when asked about the race report. His irritated response perfectly captured the challenging circumstances Mercedes had been facing since their performance took a nosedive during the second practice on Friday. He couldn't comprehend how he had ended up in 10th place, although he was actually in 9th, and expressed his confusion at the situation. The truth was that Hamilton's extended first stint on hard tires was a deliberate strategy, as the team anticipated a strong charge on medium tires in the latter part of the race. Even though he slipped behind cars he was already trailing at the race's start, the plan was for him to make up ground later on. Despite his initial disappointment, Hamilton knew that with the advantage of fresher tires, he had the freedom to hunt down his rivals. He swiftly overtook Valtteri Bottas with a skillful switchback maneuver out of the final corner, and then easily passed Kevin Magnussen with the assistance of DRS, drag reduction system, after closing a significant 6-second gap. With Charles Leclerc and Pierre Gasly just 5 seconds ahead of him, Hamilton set his sights on them. As they engaged in their own battle, Hamilton seized the opportunity with only 5 laps remaining. First, he passed Gasly, and shortly after, he replicated the move on a more stubborn Leclerc, diving down the inside at turn 11. The applause from his team at the finish line was well-deserved, as Hamilton celebrated a commendable points haul for Mercedes, considering the challenging circumstances they had faced throughout the race. The personal triumph experienced by Lewis Hamilton on that final lap cannot be overlooked. It served as a cathartic moment, almost like a detox from all the challenges and setbacks he had faced earlier in the race. Hamilton's goal was never to settle for a 6th-place finish. He was determined to fight for something more. This shift in mindset brought about a pleasant psychological change for him. When Hamilton was informed about his remarkable achievement on that last lap, his response was filled with enthusiasm and a sense of satisfaction. He expressed his excitement by exclaiming, "Oh man, mega!" When asked about the fulfillment of his last run after the weekend, Lewis Hamilton expressed, "Just to be in the sprint race, for example, I was going backwards. It was just demoralizing when you're going backwards. It's really tough. So it was great to have pace, seeing the cars up ahead, seeing the progress, and knowing that we were going to battle with people. I had a couple of great overtakes as well. That's what I live for." Qualifying 13th in Miami marked a season low for Hamilton in what has been a perplexing event for Mercedes. Both Hamilton and his teammate George Russell were at risk of being eliminated in Q2 due to the car's performance on a single lap. Hamilton was visibly irritated by the handling of the final run in Q2, believing that going out on track earlier would have resulted in a smoother and more productive preparation. Unfortunately, for reasons unknown, he was unable to complete a competitive lap while Russell managed to do so. This setback put Hamilton in a precarious position, facing the prospect of an even more challenging weekend. The frustrations continued into the race, where Hamilton started on hard tires, requiring patience and endurance. However, any hopes of a successful race were dashed when he collided with Nico Hülkenberg on the first lap. This incident momentarily made Hamilton believe that his car had sustained damage, adding to his difficulties. Throughout the race, Hamilton's progress was hindered as he found himself stuck in a DRS train, lacking a noticeable speed advantage compared to his competitors at that stage. Even when the wind picked up, the race did not significantly change until the pit stops. It would be misleading to attribute Hamilton's position solely to blazing speed, considering his tire advantage. Nonetheless, Hamilton did a commendable job in a favorable situation that he worked hard to create for himself. The reality is that Mercedes' car is not as quick as desired. Hamilton's lap times were only slightly faster than his teammate Ocon, who was on a nearly identical strategy, and 0.8 slower than the race winner, Max Verstappen. However, in the shorter final stint, Hamilton capitalized on the opportunity presented to him, showcasing good racecraft and leaving an impression that has been somewhat rare in 2023. He made the most out of the circumstances, demonstrating his skills and enjoying a more fulfilling moment on the track. He expressed his satisfaction with the progress he made during the race, stating, "It felt great to see the Ferrari up ahead and be catching them bit by bit. It's really impressive that they're so quick on a single lap. But I don't know what was going on within the race. To come from 13th and to get back into the hustle with them was great. If we had qualified where I probably should have qualified, we'd have had a much easier and smoother day. But I prefer days like this where there's a bit of adversity and you have to pull it all together and deliver. It's great fun to do that." The Miami Grand Prix marked the last race for Mercedes W14 launch spec, as significant changes are set to be introduced for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. The team is hopeful that the revamped W14 will provide a stronger foundation for development while addressing the driving difficulties experienced by Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. Like other teams, Mercedes is eagerly anticipating the debut of their highly anticipated car overhaul at the upcoming Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. This improvement has been in the works since before the Bahrain Grand Prix. The team has disclosed that the upgrade will encompass a new front suspension specification, a redesigned floor, and modified side pods, as mentioned in recent videos. The design of the side pods has been a hot topic of discussion since Mercedes unveiled their 2022 car with 0 side pods. Although the design evolved this year with slightly larger side pods, it was largely carried over from the previous iteration. However, during the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend, technical director Mike Elliott revealed that Mercedes is working on a new side pod design, which would require some alterations to the components under the bodywork. Elliott clarified that while these new side pods would differ from the existing specification, they would not be a carbon copy of Red Bull's concept. Team principal Toto Wolff mentioned in Miami that the side pod design would be more traditional. Alongside the side pod changes, the redesigned front suspension and floor are expected to improve the car's overall feel, address rear instability issues, and potentially allow for a lower ride height. The Mercedes team acknowledges the crucial role of ground effect in generating downforce, with lower ride heights allowing for increased performance, provided the mechanical platform can effectively control the car and prevent issues like proposing and bouncing. Team principal Wolff hopes that the upcoming changes to the Mercedes W14 will establish a new benchmark for the car, eliminating uncertainties and misunderstandings surrounding its performance thus far. The team expects an immediate performance boost due to improved aerodynamics, behavior, and increased stability resulting from adjustments in the front suspension. These enhancements have shown promise in simulation, but their true impact can only be measured on the track. It's important to note that these changes are just one part of Mercedes' solution to the challenges of the 2024 season. While the initial stage of the project, known as IMLR, is aimed at setting Mercedes on the right track with a car capable of competing against Red Bull, there are several significant concerns to address. First and foremost, Mercedes must enhance its understanding of the car to validate the chosen route and ensure continuous progress throughout the year. This will be crucial for establishing the team's credibility and ensuring they remain competitive in the ongoing championship. The long-term goal for Mercedes is to regain their position as a strong contender, but this may not be achievable until at least 2024. The team is currently limited by the cost cap and restrictions which prevent them from making significant adjustments to the car's architecture. While the upcoming upgrade is considered a reset, Mercedes still has a long way to go, especially with Red Bull's dominant position and ongoing improvements. Mercedes acknowledges that they are restarting from a point that would have been considered a good start a year ago. Red Bull has already gained 2 years of understanding and mastery over the current regulations. Closing the gap to Red Bull would be an incredible feat, but even with an extraordinary comeback, it requires Mercedes to fully comprehend and master their upgraded car once it hits the track at Imola. If Mercedes continues to face difficulties and remains puzzled by the car's behavior, the task of catching up may become even more challenging. It is possible that they won't be able to catch up until the new regulations come into effect, which is not expected until 2026 at the earliest. It's an open question whether Mercedes will be able to catch up or if they've been too slow with their upgrades, leaving them playing catch-up until the new regulations are implemented. The upcoming races, including Imola, will provide more insight into their progress. We value your thoughts and opinions, so please share them with us in the comments section below. We would love to read and discuss your insights. As we gear up for an exciting race in Imola next week, there is still much to anticipate in the remaining races of this season. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.